Hi everyone. Thank you for joining yet another edition of Let's Talk Design. I'm just going to let our guest connect. We have a very special guest for you today. We'll be talking about designing luxury spaces using stone. And if you have any questions, please drop them into the chat box. We're going to have a very interesting conversation. There's also a question mark at the bottom of your screen. You can ask a question using that, or you can drop in your questions in the comment box. So thank you all for joining in. I'm just going to connect with our guest. Just allow us a moment. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Tanya?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
We can't see you entirely. Yeah, this is better. Can we see a little more of you? I think our audience would love to see you.
Okay. All right.
It's
Perfect.
much better. Yeah, it's much better. So thank you, Rohit, for being with us here today on this series of Let's Talk Design. You don't really need an introduction, but I am going to still formally introduce you. So we have with us today Rohit Bhoite, founder Rohit Bhoite Designs. He's an interior designer with a master's degree from the Domus Academy in Italy. He completed his graduation from the Rachna Sansad Institute of Design in Mumbai in 2009. He's worked with acclaimed studios in Italy and in Mumbai, and then he started his own studio in 2013. The studio specializes in high-end luxurious apartments, hospitality, furniture design, and styling. Rohit, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you today. Uh, Thank you so much for being a part of the Let's Talk Design series. We'll be talking about designing luxury spaces using stone patterns and textures. With your experience in luxury homes, what do you think are the ongoing trends? What is trending currently? What's new?
See, one second. This camera is just troubling. Okay, now it's okay. See, stone itself was always been used as a luxury segment throughout history, from say palaces to churches to important spaces. So, saying luxury, it always had to depict something latest or which has not been done before. There is where the stone stands. So
Right.
with the current trends right now, there are so many technological progresses within the finishes, which can happen on stones. So I think currently there was a trend last season, which there was the texture trend on the marble, like matte finishes, leather finishes, and stuff. Now it is evolving to say we are trying to depict what used to happen earlier with the carvings and the moldings. So now there is fluting and there is grooving and there is a pattern within the marble flooring. So that is how things have progressed to depict luxury within the stone industry. So I
Great.
think, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, rightly, classical and fluting, classic designs are also trending now. And
Yeah.
especially when it comes to marble and stone, we see that a lot of people are opting for such an aesthetic.
Correct. See, stone itself is evolving in terms of the material is the same. It comes from the same quarry. But what is happening is we are trying to make the engineering in such a way that we could do the hard, laborious job faster. That is that's the trend which is keeps following every year or season to season. For example, if you would go to any museums or galleries in Italy, you would see carvings which would take you years and months to do, and you're trying to do that on the machines right now and making it look that detailed and look that luxurious, but within a fraction of minutes it comes out. And like my latest favorite would be the uncut stone. Like it's depicting stone walls or cave walls,
Yeah.
and it looked like untreated stone. That
Right.
is one of my favorites at the moment.
Okay, that's good to know. So, your designs are said to have timelessness as well as grandeur. This is something that is eternal. Most of your designs, are eternal, and stone is also eternal, right? So, when you're picking up flooring for your projects, what are the qualities that you look for in the stone that you're picking up?
For flooring, particularly, it's mainly the design and the theme of that project itself. So the color is defined from that. Let's start with that first, because marble or stone for me is the canvas for each project. Because
Right.
on that would your artwork be sitting in terms of furniture and paneling or design, whatever you do. So when
Yeah.
while selecting the canvas, the theme or the design is the first thing. So once
Yeah.
that is fixed, then you go to the second phase of how busy or how monotone do you want it.
Hmm.
Do
Hmm.
you want it to stand out, or you do want it as a canvas in the base? That would be
Hmm.
my second criteria. Third criteria would be, do I want it to look busy, or do I want it to look seamless as one piece?
Hmm.
Uh, then uh, then then the fourth criteria would be, and which is one of my most important, is the depth. Like every stone, if you see, like the natural stone, especially when you look at them in the natural sun, you will see depth within it, because it's a natural material. It's a formation of minerals for years and years. So they have a depth to it. Like the amount of depth is defines how much it would reflect the natural light coming in the house. So
Right.
that is my second, that the last parameter which I select my material. And the most important, which we tend to forget, is the care and maintenance. Like according to the project, how easy or difficult is that particular product to maintain.
Sure, sure. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for those tips. So we've also seen in your projects you use a lot of textures and stones, right? Especially textures, patterns in the residential projects, particularly. Could you share some tips with our audience on how to play with stones in their designs? What are the things to keep in mind? Could you share specific examples as well?
See, as I said, it's an ever evolving material in
Yes.
terms of the origin is still the same. It's the additional what comes within it. It's like, for example, earlier you would only see marble inlay with a stone. Then a
Mhm.
marble inlay with metal started. Then the marble inlay with glass has started. The marble inlay with wood has started. So it's a expanding product. It's a product which gets along with a lot of other products also. So,
Right.
for example, what I would suggest everyone is explore and experiment. Is where you will find something new which everyone can look up to and take reference from your own creation.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's one of the most easiest material to play with. Like
Hmm.
you can do whatever you want with it, unlike glass or metal.
Hmm.
You can, as there are hundreds of textures possible on them. If you want to make it rough, you want to make it smooth, they're fluting, whatever you want to do, you want to inlay anything in it. So whatever you can imagine as a texture on a, say for example, a fabric texture, that can be done on a marble. If you want, you can think of a geometric pattern that can be done on a marble. So
Hmm.
the world is a palette for you.
Hmm. Right, right, right. So, yeah, could you talk about any particular example where you use stone with, like, let's say, two other materials, right? And the results were sort of surprising, astonishing, or something that you thought was unique.
So there was this one particular product which I was trying to work around. Of course, I did my own R&D and failed, and then relearned, and then found more experienced people helping me on those aspects. Is the mixture of wood, brass, and stone.
Right.
Three of them comes out like this is one of the best combinations I've worked with, because I like to play with the finishes in terms of metal being a little more glossier, stone and wood being a little more matte. So the play of light is amazing on the same surface.
Yeah.
So is that was one of the best. which we are working on. There is this one more which I tried, but I'll say that I failed. That's why you'll not see in my project. Is I wanted to do a glass and a marble. Like the glass edge, if you look at the glass on the edge, it has a different texture and it looks a little different. So I wanted to use glass edge and stone, but it's very difficult to put them together, but still trying. I'll definitely make a piece of furniture with it.
Right.
But in process of trying.
Okay, good to know that. So, like you said, that stone is a very versatile material and it's flexible. The world is sort of open to you when you start using stone. Facade, flooring, furniture, ceiling. There too many things, too many options available. Could you share some tips with our audience on how one can use stone for horizontal as well as vertical surfaces, and what are the things to keep in mind?
See, we've already spoken about the horizontal on the floor. It'd be any material as such. Is always the first is the how would the natural light react on it, or interior space, how would the artificial light react on it. So when you know the light is from a upward source, so when it's bouncing, try and use that angle to make the space much open and feel much bigger.
Right.
And don't do it the opposite other way around. Otherwise, the spaces start looking a little bit crunched and small.
Right.
For example, so when you're using materials on the wall, remember the light doesn't fall properly like this. So there should be another source of light coming on an angle to elevate that material.
Sure.
Otherwise, that material, like as you asked me, like when verticals, how do you play with it? It's just, please take care how the natural light is falling. With a lot of technologies, what we've seen is the cladding processes have changed. From the old only a dry cladding, now there is from the traditional wet cladding, now there is dry cladding also. And with dry cladding, it gives you more possibilities of doing something on the geometrical pattern or something which is against the gravity. In terms of in wet cladding, you would not be able to put it on a tilt. But in the dry cladding, you can make a framework and make a tilt also. So there is a lot of scope of particularly stones, because what happens in the cladding material is, as we spoke earlier, the depth of the material can be seen more. Like unlike mirror really has one depth it reflects in terms of what it sees. Stone itself will have multiple grooves or multiple grain work, which is a formation of all the minerals. So it starts reflecting, or some of the stones shine also. So they also show a different texture. So marble is, as I said, it's an endless discovery. Every time you would go to a quarry, come up with a new marble, and then the guys will come up with new technology, either of cutting it, laying it. So it's like a material given to a designer as a kid who starts building the blocks and discovering something new.
Right. Thank you so much. That is very useful. Could you talk about, we spoke about stone as a complementary material. Could you talk about your favorite material that, like you said, you want to try out glass, and hopefully that will work out really well. Is there something that you've already tried and tested and you think it showed fabulous results?
See, the best or the most less used is marble and wood. They are the most natural materials available, and what happens is every wood is different, every marble is different. That is why the grain work, they complement each other. But as I said, that now is the time to add on another material to it. Like there is something which I want to try is resin and marble and wood. Right. Yeah. Again, experimenting, but let's see. Like you fail for 10 times, then something comes out.
I'm sure. We hope all your experiments are 100% success. I'm going to now take some questions from the audience. Rohit, a lot of people have mentioned they love your work, they love your thoughts. There's a lot of compliments in here. Maybe you can scroll down and see later. One question that somebody's asked is, if isn't marble a porous material, aren't tiles a better option?
See, stone itself is like an encyclopedia. In terms of stone, as simple as I can get it is comes from every quarry. When it comes, it has a different quality or character.
Yeah.
The porosity, the reflection, and the absorption of every stone is different.
Right.
The hardness and the softness to every stone is different. So
Right.
what I always recommend my students or my clients when we are using a lot of stone is buy stones from the same environment where it's coming from.
Yeah.
For example, if you're buying a stone to be used in a tropical climate,
Right.
Get it from a place where the climate is also tropical.
Hmm.
Don't get it from a dry weather to a moisture heavy climate, because this stone has survived for years in that area.
Yeah.
So if you use something like that, it will never give up. As the viewer asked, the porosity. For example, there are a lot of natural Indian stones which are fabulous. Like people don't look at them because I think international stones are given more importance. But if you see, there are so many Indian stones which are, their textures and their durability is fabulous.
Right.
Is so just to conclude, this is depends on what material, which area you want to use it. Do you want to use it on the terrace? You want to use it on kitchen top? Do you want to use it for a flooring? Depending that, buy a material. Just don't go by the trend. Oh, everyone is using Satwario marble, so I want a Satwario marble. See if the space can take the Satwario marble. See the weather can take Satwario marble.
So can you tell us what, according to you, is one stone that is underestimated, that people don't end up buying, but it shows great results?
Kotaka and Kadapa.
Yes,
I love it.
I
Absolutely
would
love
second
it.
that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people have been on the series and they all say that, Kota and its power and Kadapa and its power, it's fabulous, right? It can totally change the way a space is. And
It's
clients
the
and
best.
people
It's the
don't.
best. One of the best in the Indian context.
Yeah.
Because it's taken weathering for so many years in our own country. So what happens is, it's like you put it and you forget it. Nothing will happen to it. So
Great.
we've got like terraces and terrace lounges in it, and like it's been 10, 15 years. We go back to them and we're like, wow, it's aged much better than what we could imagine, and didn't even require a polishing. Yes, cleaning is required, but no polishing, nothing. It just aged well.
Okay. One last question from the audience. Can you talk about different stone polishes and how to choose a polish for cladding or flooring or furniture?
Polishing, as we discussed, that there is on top of my head right now, there is glossy, there is matte, there is leather, there is satin, then there is many more. So what happens is these polishes also depend on what do you want to reflect from the space within. Do you want it to look very glamorous and reflective? Like if you go to a very high-end luxurious house, you will see everything is shining. It's more charismatic, that they want to show it. And if you go to a minimalistic or a Japanese decor house, you will see it more as matte finish and stuff. So the decor and the styling is one of the most important. Then it's the stone itself. If some stones can't take rough weathering, the rough polishing, it cannot take rough polishing. So depending on the material itself, the polish needs to be selected. And what do you want to depict out of this material? Because end of the day, when we are designing and trying to use a natural material in our own spaces, we're trying to depict either luxury, or we're trying to depict warmth, or any of those. So what are you trying to depict?
Right. Okay. I think we're getting a very good response on the questions. I'm going to take one last question from the audience. This time, I promise it's the last one. Which country marble is best suited for flooring in Mumbai?
Which country marble? India. The best would be India, but my favorite would be Italy.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. That was super useful. One question that we like to answer, we like to ask you at A-Class is, if there was one stone that you had to pick which would resonate with your personality, and it would be representative of who you are individually, what stone would that be?
This is a tough one.
That you relate to, one stone that you relate to, you know.
I think for me, it would be onyx, the white onyx.
Right, right.
It's so beautiful. At the same time, you're scared to use it. So it's a very delicate product. It attracts you always, but you're scared to get close to it. Should I or shouldn't I? But that's one of the closest material, because every piece I've seen of onyx has a different language altogether.
Of course. Okay, great. So last word, as you know, the series is called Let's Talk Design. One big thing that you want to say to our audience on Let's Talk Design, what would you leave our audience with?
Dream, explore, and excite people.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rohit. It was a super fun conversation. Thank you for being with us on this series. I'm not sure if you're aware, but A-Class celebrated 50 years of being in the industry this year, and hence
Congratulations to them.
Top Design. Thank you for being a part of the A-Class journey. They'll be planting a tree on your behalf, and you'll be getting a certificate from A-Class. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Have a
Thanks.
great day.
Have a good day too. Stay safe. Thanks.